tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads from over 200 countries and your #1 source in after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another after show for Untold with Maria Menounos, right here on Maria Menounos' AfterBuzz TV.
Whoa.
Yes. I'm Cathy, Kelley, and joining me, we got some newbies on the panel, but they are amazing.
Thank you.
Introducing first, Megan Thomas.
What's up? It's me, Megan Thomas. So glad to be here with you.
It's great to have you on.
Thank you.
And sitting next to Megan, DJ Jesse Janedy.
Hey.
Doing his own
Someone has to do it.
intro. So we have a great episode to recap today. I mean,
Talk about
kind of a
going
somber
from,
note
dark
to
light.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah, there were a lot of emotions going on today in this episode. But I guess let's jump right into it. The first topic of this week was the tragic, topic of celebrity overdosing and just the epidemic of heroin in Hollywood.
Right.
Which I mean, like, it's weird to, you see these things on TV, but heroin to me, like, it doesn't seem like something that people are actually doing.
Right? It's like, this seems like a 1975 drug.
Yeah.
Like, that's something people did, like, around the Vietnam War. Like, you know what I mean? There's other drugs I think that would probably be more prevalent.
More
Yeah.
problem. But I'm just looking over here like, if someone approached me at a bar, if someone approached me like, hey, want to smoke a little pot, I'd be like, oh, okay, sure. If someone came up to me talking about, oh, you want to do some coke, I'd be like, oh, that's not my style. But someone's like, hey, you want to come over here and do some heroin? I'd be like,
Whose uncle are you? Like, what do you do heroin in
I
Ireland?
honestly, like, I'm so glad that I'm afraid of needles because I will never, ever, ever do that.
So wait a minute, because I thought heroin you can either like shoot it up, or can
chew
you
it.
like smoke it? Or
that's what the spoon is, or is that's what they're? Oh no, I think they have to cook the heroin and then they
put it in
a needle, and then they.
We're all addicts, clearly.
we don't even know.
I really don't know. I'm going based off like Paid in Full and like hood
Yeah.
movie.
Hood movie.
You know what I mean? Which I love that they spoke about and kind of saying that media puts heroin like out there, saying that it started from the streets, and
Yeah.
a lot of it it really
It's
doesn't.
not,
A lot of it
yeah.
stems from medical drugs.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's talk about that. I mean, they mentioned it multiple times tonight. There was even that woman who did the interview with Maria.
Yeah.
I forget her name, but
Jessica.
She was saying that her addiction to heroin started because she had a surgery,
Right.
and they gave her, prescription drugs to help with the pain post-op, and she got addicted to those, and after her prescription ran out, she wasn't able to refill it anymore. She then turned to heroin because it's something that you can get. I don't know where you can get it, but you can get it for, they said, $5 a bag at the cheapest, which is absolutely nuts.
Jimmy
to
down
think
the block
about.
probably got it.
That's less than buying a 6-pack of beer.
Right.
That's nuts.
And, the biggest thing for me is I went through depression a couple years back, really heavy, and one of the things that kind of is making me look at this now is how easy it was for me to have gotten any type of drug that I wanted, because I was depressed and they put me on Lexapro, which is antidepressant. I didn't like how I felt on it, and I had just taken an Adderall from one of my friends before, and I liked how I felt on the Adderall, and so I said that to my therapist, and my therapist was like, yeah, like without,
Are you serious?
that's what you need. If that'll make you happy, then there you go.
gosh.
And I mean, I weaned myself off of it, not that I was addicted or anything, because it just put me in that mood.
Yeah.
But it's just with 2014, we see depression and all these people with hyper anxiety, and it's so easy to get these licenses for medical marijuana, to get these pills that, even though it's not called heroin, if you look at the ingredients on
It's the
it,
same thing.
it's actually the better shit than the heroin on the streets.
And I didn't even realize that. I guess that's what I learned today, was that I didn't realize that all of these pain pills are also opiates, which are the same thing as heroin, which is why it's basically the same kind of high.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there like, hold on. So wait a minute. So because a doctor can give me basically pharmaceutical heroin, it's okay?
Well, I have, I just got my wisdom teeth out less than a week ago. I have an entire bottle of oxycodone in my cabinet because, like, that's what they give you after you get them out. And I used it for like 2 days and then I stopped because I didn't need them. But I feel like
make you feel warm all over like Jessica?
No, that's the thing is, I think that it's also, they say that a lot of the time it's due to your genetics. If you have that addictive personality, or, you know, you might, like, maybe she took too much of it or whatever it was, there was something that made her addicted to it and it didn't do anything to me, you know?
Yep.
So I think that it varies person to person. Alcoholism is another thing. It runs in your family. It's like, it's a genetic disorder. So I would say that, you know, potentially these drugs, the prescription ones, there might be people who are more susceptible to becoming addicted to them, and then once they can't get them anymore because, you know, they are prescription, they turn to other things.
And I think also, like, some people, it's, you know, in this, we see that Jessica got them because of her appendectomy. And so sometimes when you're in so much pain, you, instead of taking the prescribed amount, you just take more because you think, okay,
she was
I
a
feel
nurse,
better.
though. She
Right. But it doesn't, I guess that doesn't detract from how you really feel. So you say, okay, I'm only supposed to take 2 of these, but I'm still hurting.
Yeah.
So why don't I just pop 2 more and see what happens?
My mouth still hurts, but I switched to ibuprofen.
Well, we're so glad that warmth didn't take over your life.
I know. I mean, we're making fun of it, but it really is a tragic thing.
It is very tragic.
I mean, let's talk about the celebrity deaths, because those are, you know, something that I think really, you know, brought this to the forefront of the media, and people are now starting to recognize that it is a problem. They mentioned tonight Corey Monteith, who died way too young. Right. Philip Seymour Hoffman, Peaches Geldof, and then Mackenzie Phillips, who is still with us, but she struggled with addiction for a really long time.
I mean, her life story. Like, your father
heartbreaking.
taught you how to shoot up heroin and then
cocaine
mess
and
around with
alcohol.
you.
Right. It's so sad.
Yeah. But, I mean, drugs are very prevalent in Hollywood. That's not a secret. You know, I remember when I was going out a lot, there were, you know, I didn't do them, but I would witness, you know, people doing drugs in a club. And it's just, it's weird that that's part of society. But, you know, you hear about these stories whether you live here or not, and it's just, it's so tragic.
Right. And something that Dr. Drew Pinsky pointed out was that he said that in Hollywood there's a higher rate of, obviously, you know, narcissism, and there's a higher rate of basically people who feel a lot more pressure because there's a lot of people looking at them. So the amount, I guess the ratio of people doing drugs compared to other places in America is a lot higher here. And so I thought about that and I said, you know what? That makes a lot of sense, because you see these people and you're wondering, like, you have it all. You're on TV, you're famous, you're on Glee, you've got to play in movies. Why would you do that? But why would you do that?
That's the thing. I remember a couple years back when Demi Lovato came clean about her drug addiction. She said that she got started doing drugs because she would go out with these promoters or hang out with people, and they would just offer it to them for free because they wanted the celebrities to hang out with them.
Right.
So when you're getting these things for free and there is that peer pressure to do the drugs, or if it's, you know, girls want to do cocaine because there's no calories in it, which sounds so superficial, but they do. Yeah. They end up getting addicted, and you know, it spirals from there. Right. So I think that that's kind of why it's more prevalent, and especially, you know, when you are young, a lot of these people, like they mentioned Corey Monteith started doing drugs at the age of 15. Right. So just being immersed in that whole culture, you get sucked
I mean,
in.
you have to stay up later. You know, you're always working. It's like as soon as you finish shooting on a long day, it's you got to go do the Glee press release now and go run over to Fox, run over to CBS, and you're always smiling and need energy and have to be on, and it's tiring. And I can just imagine needing that, you know, extra little pick up if you've been doing it for so long, and to wean yourself off of it. And you know, when Dr. Drew started talking, he switched over to Philip Seymour, talking about that he was 2 years clean, and then it just took that little taste of it.
Right. And then you do the same amount that you remember doing. You don't do like, okay, I've been off for 2 years, let me just stay. No, he wasn't 2 years, he was 20 years clean.
20 years.
20 years clean. And had to do a 10-day detox and died right after. And that just was crazy to me, because I think about that, like, he had kids, he's supposed to pick them up, and imagine how sad that is for your child to be like, I'm waiting on my dad.
Yeah.
Only for your dad to not be there anymore. And it's just, you know, drugs are, it's so hard. And I think, especially for people who are not addicted to anything, it's hard for them to understand.
Yep.
And I love Dr. Drew's example of the sandwich. He said, you're famished, and you say a sandwich, but you just keep walking past it for 2 years, you're still famished. So it's kind of like, it's like an everyday struggle. It's not one thing like, I'm beat it, I'm done. I'm sure Mackenzie Phillips will tell you, if she's ever around those drugs, she has something in her that makes her go, oh, I kind of want to do those. But you have to find positivity around you so you don't go back to that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like smoking cigarettes. I smoked like a pack a day, and you get to the point where you're like, I'm not addicted. I'm not even addicted to these. If I wanted to stop, I could just stop. And then when you stop, it really is. I mean, I can imagine just with cigarettes. So then imagine something heavier than that. And you're sitting there every day, the smell of a cigarette, the little just flicker of a cigarette. It just, even though I don't like the taste of it anymore, I don't even like the smell of it, but the thought of it, it just eats in your mind.
And it's so prevalent. Like when you're getting gas at a gas station, they
make it look so cool on TV
or outside a bar. I'm sure there are people just smoking everywhere. Like it's kind of thrust in your face.
And my favorite thing about this whole conversation was, I think it was Dr. Drew who said it, or was it Philip Seymour who said, no, it was Russell Brand who said, everyone looks at drugs as nasty and dirty. So then if we see someone who, you know, is addicted to the drugs, we think that they're dirty, bad, and we don't want to help them. But if we don't know what it is, then we're more caring to be like, oh, what's wrong with you? And I think that that's so true, because when you think crack, heroin, you think of it, there's an image that comes into your head of, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, we deal with how many celebrities to walk around Hollywood to see what real crackheads look like. And it's so true to see. They look normal.
Right. Yeah. Just like Jessica, the nurse.
You would never know.
Right.
Going back to Russell Brand, he also mentioned that he thought that all drugs should be legalized. What are your thoughts on that?
At first when he said that, I was like, hold on, wait, what? Like, wait a minute. But then he makes a good point. I'm not saying he's right, but he does make a good point. And he says, if you legalize these drugs, you take the stigma away from them, and it, instead of criminalizing people, you now have to help them, because it's like, oh, they're allowed to do it. Oh, they're addicted, they need help. But when it's illegal, then you go, oh, you're a criminal, I can't help you, you just need to go to jail. Yeah. But that doesn't help anybody with their addiction.
Right.
So I mean, that makes a good point.
There definitely would be a surge of, you know, people who went out and just got a lot of drugs, I feel like, if they were legalized. But in America, they are slowly legalizing weed, obviously, with Colorado and now in California for medical purposes. So do you think that you know?
But we do have legalized heroin. It's called
that's where it's hard to like kind of make that kind of a decision. Like, okay, you know, weed always gets brought up into this, and it's like, if you look at the ingredients between weed and between these little pills that people are just creating up in their house, I mean, I feel like that now we're getting into something different when it comes out. Like, I don't know. Like, that sounds sketchy to me, that there's some man cooking up some drugs. You know what I mean? Like Breaking Bad. Like, no.
Yeah.
That's going a little too far. Like, you know, that's dangerous for them. And that's dangerous for the people around them. Someone growing a tree in their basement, a little different than chemical fumes popping up.
Although, I feel like there is that, I was walking earlier today around Hollywood, West Hollywood actually. I was going to Starbucks and I smelled weed. And I was like, that's a little too, like...
I mean, it is
what
very...
if somebody was using it for their cataracts?
Right.
But like, that was so public.
It really is.
Like, and you're at a mall. Come on. Seriously?
I just think when it comes to things like that, it's like, just do it in your private home. Like, nobody should be driving on it.
I'm not judging anyone for doing it. It's not for me, but yeah, like,
But no, heroin, I do not think heroin should be legalized. I think that we should take this, somehow try to find a way to take the stigma, and what maybe that is now pointing out the celebrities that do it, to kind of say, look, it's not just these homeless people on the street, it's your favorite TV stars, it's your favorite musicians.
No, but I think this. I think if you're going to criminalize heroin and the crackhead homeless dude on the street doing heroin, you need to also criminalize people who are addicted to pain pills, because it's the same thing. And that makes me mad, because I'm like, okay, well, wait a minute. That's not fair. That it's not fair that you would put this man in jail, but you won't put this one here because you're like, oh, he just needs to go to rehab. It's the same thing.
Because let us find out Kim Kardashian a pill popper. You know what I mean? Like to put it out there, and then it takes down that celebrityism that we put on these random people.
There was another quote that they said on the show tonight: for every one person that dies from addiction, 10 people are saved. And, you know, I think that celebrities who have dealt with addiction, like Mackenzie Phillips, like Demi Lovato, who share their experience and have overcome it, I think almost help people more, because, you know, as vulnerable as it is to put that out there, you know, how much you struggled with it, I think that they don't realize how many people it helps who are also going through the same thing.
And was it Mackenzie Phillips? She talked about, you know, even though I thought I was clean, I never really realized the inner work that has to be done. It's funny because inner work has been coming around.
That's what it is. It's
a lot lately, and I would, you know, that's something that people need to really sit there and understand. Sometimes when we think we're okay, it's really looking within yourself and really deciding, is this really that important?
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure we could talk about this topic all night long, but let's move on. YouTube celebrities. This is something that we are hearing about more and more. I mean, I remember a couple years ago, just, you're like, a YouTube celebrity, what is that? And now, you know, you see them at the Teen Choice Awards. You see them everywhere. VidCon is
bigger than regular
huge. And they mentioned, I mean, we saw Tyler Oakley on the show, Hannah Hart, Boyce Avenue, Lily Singh, Brittany Ferland, Simone Shepherd. Like, the list goes on. There are hundreds of people who have millions of followers on YouTube. It's absolutely nuts, but that's their job.
That's insane. And they were talking about how, like, what is it, 1 million fans, 1 to 5 million fans, you should be getting, like, at least, what, like 100?
On Vine, for YouTube, I believe it's every 10,000 views, you get $5. So... They're YouTube stars.
They were saying if you had the subscribers, what did you say? I think 5 million subscribers or something insane like that, then you should be getting at least, like, what, between $500,000 to $1 million.
It depends more on the views and how long people are watching it than the subscriber number, because there are people who fake that number. But I mean, like, I know YouTube celebrities who are making 6 figures easily a year just from YouTube, and then you're getting endorsement deals. Brittany Ferland was just, you know, she hosted recently on TV. Like, it's, you can really build it into a brand. There are people, I've had my friend Max Schneider, who's a YouTube celebrity. He started doing music covers on a YouTube channel, and then it's just kind of snowballed into having hundreds of thousands of subscribers, or millions of subscribers, but he's now on NBC's Crisis. Like, that's nuts. Like, to, you know, there are other people, Christina Grimmie, who I've interviewed too, like, she almost won The Voice. Like, it's cool to, you know, see the impact that these people are...
That they couldn't even have had, what, 10 years ago? 5 years ago. Like, this is so recent, and it's so new, and it's so awesome and amazing that you don't have to wait for somebody to recognize your talent. You just put it out there and let people decide for themselves if they like you or not.
You can create your own brand. You can create, you can share your own talent. You don't need someone to tell you no, or if you've had all these doors slammed in your face and you still believe in yourself, you can just open your own door. And I think it's amazing that now these companies have to sit there and shake in their boots because you guys thought that you could say no, 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 no to all these people, and now they just come up, and now you have to, because they have the power. They have the followers. They have the views. You need them.
I mean, it's a platform. It really is, for not just musicians, but for actors, for comedians, I mean, anyone with even just Tyler Oakley, who was just filming himself.
Right.
Like, he was just filming himself. Grace Helbig, she's a perfect example. Daily Grace, like, she filmed herself every single day on YouTube and put up a video, and it was just her being her. And now she's got so many sponsorship deals. She did a movie with Hannah Hart, Mamie Hart, called Camp Dakota. Like, they released their own film. Like, that's incredible to have built that yourself. And I mean, I think Hannah even mentioned on the show tonight that the first video she ever did was just to please a friend, like to make a friend laugh.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
And I like how the Boyce Avenue brothers, they said that when they, of course, had all of their following, they got an actual deal. And they were like, we were so miserable, we had to get out of the deal. We're doing better outside of the deal. That would have corporations just going nuts, like, oh my goodness, they don't need us anymore. They can do it themselves. Oh my gosh. And that's, to me, that's amazing that you can sit here and you are gifted enough to say, not only am I don't need your distribution, but I don't need your studio time. I don't need your advance money.
Good.
Like, none of that.
Because YouTube, if you have enough subscribers, and you can go to YouTube school now.
Oh, very true.
Yeah. YouTube has a school in which I forget
I've heard of the YouTube
amount
studios,
of
but
subscribers that you have.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
it's the same thing.
Okay.
Like, you can take classes at there, and they teach you how to build your YouTube page, your network even more. And you can use their studio there. Like, my friend, she's in a band. They got signed into it, and they can create music videos. They hire people for the videos and stuff. Like, YouTube.
There's so much production now going into YouTube, though, which is cool to see.
If you think about it, the 90s was so big because celebrity was so different. Like, 90s, it was all about the musicians, because when, Whitney Houston releases a single, Mariah Carey drops a single, they were selling 1 million, you know what I mean? Like, big numbers.
Yeah.
Now, we don't see those numbers in music. The only place you see those numbers is online. It's not even about it used to be about what celebrity can make people purchase the most of their thing. It ain't about that. It's how many people can you get to like this or view this.
It's crazy, though, because I do have a lot of friends that are, they're either YouTube famous or Vine famous or whatever, and they've mentioned that it's really hard to transition that into something else because, they could have 500,000 Vine followers, and that doesn't translate into, they might only have 2,000 fans on Twitter or whatever it is. Like, it's hard to get people to another medium unless you're either really business savvy or you have something else going on.
I mean, I think that's the challenge. Every profession you'll have the challenges, and I think that's the challenge of. I mean, you're famous, and you really didn't do anything but be yourself. Like, so that's great. But the downside of that, now you're trying to figure out, okay, well, how can I bankroll this into something new, or steamroll this into another endeavor?
Well, like. A lot of YouTube musicians, they're doing covers. Boyce Avenue is one of the exceptions, but they started doing covers, and then they wanted to release their own music, and they realized that the fans didn't take to their own music, so they had to either go back to covers or, figure something else out. But it's a struggle because, you have this platform, but where do you go from there?
But one of the things that they said, and I think that's important, is that you can't go into this trying to be famous. Every one of these people started off with just, I want to make my friend happy. I just wanted to tell my friends how I was doing in college. I organically, we were just singing songs that we liked, and we organically, somebody watched us and liked it, and that turned into, we're now opening for this tour. So it just has to be one of those organic things that you do from the heart, and not because you're like, you know what? I want to be YouTube famous. Like, just go doing whatever it is that makes you happy, and if you build it, they'll come. Don't worry about it.
And if you look online, the number one things that get the most views are organic things, like the kid with the finger in his brother's mouth, and the
viral videos are
poking his hand on the dog's nose, like. That gets more views than people who put time and money into videos. It's the stupid cat that's like.
I have to say that's why it's these people are famous or popular is because they're genuine, and you don't realize, but fans on the internet can sniff out a fake person. If they're not funny, they will be the first to call you out. They even mentioned that on the show. I've interviewed Hannah before. I've interviewed Tyler before. Like, they're all just genuinely nice people that have millions of subscribers, which is crazy. But I don't know. I just feel like that's why they became successful, is because they're just being themselves.
Right. And you can tell as Maria is interviewing these people, they're exactly the same as the people who you see on the videos, like Lily saying. I was like, oh my goodness, I want to be her friend. She seems really, really fun.
Brittany has no filter. I've met her and she's no filter.
Oh, you can tell her and Joan love each other.
How awesome was that, though?
Let's talk about Joan, just someone who I think we've all looked up to. You know, from her days in E, from being a comedian, but she was one of those people that really wanted to foster talent, and she brought all of these kids on her show and genuinely cared about them, it seemed like.
And it's so funny because if Joan Rivers was like growing up now, she would be a YouTube star. Like, that would be her medium.
She literally, I mean, it's so amazing to see that I didn't know that she reached out to that many YouTube stars, but that's who Joan was. When she was coming up in the business, she was new. She had to fight against the grain, and she had to make a name for herself. So she gets what these kids are going through, and I love that she really wanted to make an impact on them. That's genuine, to me.
Yeah. Her passing was tragic as well. That's obviously the most recent out of everyone that was on the show. What do you guys think of the tributes? I mean, I don't know if you saw any of the other ones, but the one that we saw tonight, Maria and Brittany's.
It was so cute.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I love about Vine. You think like, oh, it's only 6 seconds. It's like an easy video. But you see how many takes they had to do?
Yeah.
It's not easy.
I remember, so, you know, Maria was talking about on the show how when they knocked the guy over, people thought it was real. Brittany did this Vine video a couple weeks ago, where she was holding a curling iron, or she was like, you know, pretending to do her hair in the mirror, and she's like singing some song, and then grabs the top of the curling iron like it's a microphone, and like screams, drops it, and everyone thought it was real. I remember, like, I knew who she was, so I knew that it was fake, but I saw my Facebook feed just being like, this girl's so dumb. Who is this girl? Why would you do that? You know, like all these things. Like, and it was so fake. Like, you knew it was fake, but
I watched that and thought it was real too.
Really?
I showed it to a whole bunch. I didn't know who she was. I was like,
did you see that it was Brittany though?
Now I do, because I know exactly what you're talking about. But
everyone's like, this dumb bee.
No, and you're right. You have to have thick skin to do this.
Oh, completely.
Because people, I mean, and that's another downside to putting your life out there, that you're allowing people to judge it, and you're allowing people to post and tell you what they think about you, and that can be harsh. You know what I mean? To see 1 billion people say you're a stupid bee, you put your hand on a curling iron,
and it's on a keyboard, so like the things that some people can create,
they have no
mind,
filter on that.
I'm like, where did you even grow up to think of 4 of those words in that sentence to put them together?
Exactly.
Yeah, people, you have to remember, like, if you're on the internet, like, these are real people that you're talking about.
Right.
And they have real feelings too. But I also feel like YouTube celebrities get the worst out of it, not only because you have the comments right there, and I mean Vine, all social media, more so than other celebrities, because, I mean, it's on your personal channel or page or whatever it is, so you kind of have to see it, unless you don't want to read your own comments. But then also, I feel like people think they know YouTube celebrities or social media stars more so than other celebrities, because you're putting more of your life out there, as opposed to people realizing like, oh, well, if it's a show on TV, well, that's fake, they're just an actor. Whereas on social media, if you're, you know, Brittany Ferlin and you're doing Dora the Explorer, they think that like that's your personality.
Well, and that, not only that, but you're more tangible to them. They can go see you and meet you, and they can be around you, and it for some of them, it's kind of scary, because if you're just starting out and you have all these millions of, you know, views, people will come up to your house. People will do weird things. Like, I'm nowhere near any of that, and I've had somebody reach out to my mother, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Right.
It's scary. And, you know, now we live in this life where it's so common to us to be like, I can know what Kanye West and Kim Kardashian are doing if I want to, because that's what their life is supposed to be about.
Right.
So if this person has all this many millions of views, they're a celebrity to me, and I have the right to do, you know what I mean? Like, we're just in this mind.
Right. But I think, I mean, that's a part of what you get when you decide to do this. You decided to become, you know, you were just posting about your life. What did you think was going to happen when you're allowing people to live in your life? You're allowing them to come into your world. You're becoming friends with people you don't know. So what comes with that? You also get the judgment side that comes with it. And so I think, I just think that it's hard for people to go, and you know, it's so bad. People think they know me. Well, what did you expect? You put your life out there for everyone to see. So of course they're going to think they know you.
How do you guys feel about this, though? How do you feel about these, because there's some that I've watched, like Lohanthony, or ones that are younger than him. It's like these little boys or little girls that are online, and like either little boys dressed up like girls dancing in their room to Britney Spears, or these little girls talking about things that they should not be talking about, and like that stuff is being put on the internet. That stuff is getting how many views and all that. But a lot of celebrities, like Lohanthony, did his parents know that he was up in his bedroom doing all this?
Right,
and,
right.
You know, like it's weird and it's scary and it just turns into something else. That, you know, how do you control that? How do we make our kids not see it? How do we? Because there's some like World Star. You know, they'll pick select ones from YouTube, and there's this. I wish I could remember what this boy's name is, but there is this one little boy. Every time I watch him, I'm like,
I know
does his mother know what he's doing in here? Like, there
Probably
are
not.
perverts online that are who knows what they're doing. It's just, it freaks me out.
Right, but I think that crosses into the line of your family. Like, parents have to still be parents. You can't allow, you know, and it's sad because every generation it's something different where parents are like, I didn't know my kids are doing that. I didn't know they were listening to that music. I didn't know they were dancing like that. And now it's like, oh my gosh, I did not know that you were putting our life out there, our home, and people can come by here and abduct you and do God knows what to you as a child. And like, it's so anybody
or get picked on at school because they think you're this on YouTube. And it's freaking
That's
scary.
the most unfortunate part. Yeah. So anything else you guys want to talk about from the YouTube celebrity section?
No, I mean, I thought it was a pretty awesome show. As far as what they delivered.
And I'll never get excited when I see I have like 80 likes on a picture for like a week, and hear Maria and Tyler Oakley get like
5,000 in 1 minute.
Megan, we gotta go knock some handicapped people over.
Ridiculous. It's crazy. Well, if people do want to follow you on Instagram, Megan Thomas, where can they find you?
As always, you can come harass me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Meg Scoop, like scoop of ice cream.
Boop. Y'all can follow me at DJ Jesse J.
And you can find me on Twitter at Catherine Kelley and on Instagram at Cathy Kelley. You can follow all of us here on Twitter and Instagram at AfterBuzz TV. Please leave us comments on our YouTube YouTube video. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Tell a friend. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will catch you again in a couple weeks for a new episode of Untold.
Peace.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.